Hello and what is going on today, guys? Tomcat here, and today I am bringing you guys a Forza 5 drift build of the 2011 Subaru WRX STI. Now, this is a car that I kind of wanted to do a drift build on it, but I guess avoided it to go to other cars because I was just more interested in building other cars. But I wanted to give this thing a little bit of attention because it's a really cool car, and you don't see really any of them drifting in online servers. You don't see any of them drifting at all. So I'm gonna look through some of the liveries, and I don't think I'm gonna actually. Now that is the special. That's actually the exact color scheme that they have on the WRX Special Edition. So I might actually take that. But let me just look through a couple of them real quick. Most of them are really bad. We're gonna go with the WRX STI Special Edition colors because I think they look really, really good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to swap it to rear-wheel drive. We're going to give it a little bit of power, get a tune on it, and, ooh, Impreza Collector, sweet! That's an awesome badge to have, actually. I didn't even know that existed in the game. But, like I said before, you don't see many of these drifting online, and they're also very, very good circuit cars, and I definitely plan to do a circuit version in the future, but I feel like I like to drift. You know, I like to drift in Forza, so a drift build is usually a good place for me to start with a certain car. Now, first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to swap out that drivetrain because as it stands now, as far as drifting goes, it's no good. Unless you're on dirt or snow, which you don't have in Forza. So, we're not going to swap out the motor either. We're just going to build up the stock motor. And yes, I know I have very little, pretty much no money in Forza right now. My Forza money has kind of dropped off the face of the earth, I guess you could say, because I did like a couple of supercar drift builds, and I didn't go back into career to replace that money, so, or rivals, and I haven't been playing a lot of Forza lately, so that's kind of where that money went. But we're not going to do anything else in the suspension area. We're going to go ahead and do the drivetrain because we kind of need that. But the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to give it a race gearbox. And I was thinking of if we really need to do anything else. And since we're kind of doing this budget-wise, I'm actually only going to do a race gearbox and a race diff. That might be a bad idea. I don't know. It probably is actually a bad idea, but we'll end up seeing, I guess. I want to be able to conserve at least a little bit of my credits. Now, it's on streets right now, so I'm just going to leave it on streets. I'm not going to change the tire size at all, and the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is go build up the power as much as we can, so get a race exhaust in there. We're 325 horsepower, so not bad, but it could deal with more. It definitely could deal with more. Nearly 400. Yeah, definitely going to give it a race turbo. 444. I'm kind of worried that I might not be able to get the most out of it just because of the amount of credits I have. 469. I think anything above 500 is going to be okay. We're going to be good to go. As long as we're above 500, we'll be okay. And that's what I'm trying to get to right now. We should be able to get it just with, yeah, 501. I want to do one more upgrade. Like, just give me one more upgrade. 518. Okay, we should be good to go with 518. 518 definitely should be a decent amount of horsepower. It's not going to be a record setter at this point. It's not going to be a record-setting drift car, but it's definitely going to be, it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be fun, I think. So, definitely interested to try it, just to see what it can do. Bring that down yeah, there we go. There we go. Right to there. And if you guys want to copy this setup on this car, and, you know, just kind of put your own spin on it, or just, you know, just to try it, feel free to do that. I don't know exactly, at this point, I have no idea how this car is going to behave, so if you're a beginner drifter, I might not suggest giving this a shot until after I actually try this car out, just to see if it's actually going to be suitable, for beginner drifters, because at the end of my drift builds, I like to give an overall estimate of the skill you kind of need to have in order to drift certain cars. Because some are very easy, some are quite difficult, some are kind of in between. So we're going to go ahead and apply that setup, and we're going to go ahead and test drive it and take it to, I'm thinking Bernese Alps. I like Bernese Alps for drift testing. I like it a lot, actually. It's a very fun circuit. It's a balanced circuit. You got a lot of different types of corners. Most of them are long and sweeping, but some of them are kind of intricate and tight, so Nice little circuit to be testing these cars on, and it's just a beautiful circuit. I mean, the way they up the graphic quality for Bernie's Ops, especially from Forza 4 to Forza 5, is amazing. Let's go ahead and see how it sounds real quick, though. It loves to backfire. This car has to be the most backfire-y car that I have that's under 600 horsepower. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, just look. It's like a freaking machine gun. Let's see how it burns out from the start. Not bad. Get a little heat in those rear tires. And let it go. Okay, yeah, there is some turbo lag, and you gotta let it get into the turbo before it'll give you the boost you're looking for. But once it gets into it, you're good to go. Oh yeah, once you get into it, once the boost comes on, then it's definitely usable. It's definitely easy to balance. But you do have to wait for the boost sometimes. You will get into a rhythm with it. I mean, I'm sure I'll get into a rhythm with it eventually, and I'm starting to get into a rhythm with it already. But you do have to wait for the boost to come on, and you kind of get into a rhythm with the way the boost comes on. You get into a rhythm with the lag and the turbo, just the way it works. I mean, I'll just go ahead and demonstrate the lag real quick. I mean, it's going to be a little different because we're going downhill, but I'm going to start in third at around 3,000 RPMs and floor it. And boost just came on. Well, boost came on, I want to say, at about 4.5, 5,000 RPMs. Boost came on at about 4.5, 5,000 RPMs. So you do have to keep it up there. Wow, that entry was horrible. But no, you do have to keep it up there. And, I mean, it's... Stop! Don't go that way, stop! Okay. You do have to kind of keep it up there. And I completely ruined my rhythm by doing that boost demonstration. But you kind of have to keep it up there a little bit. But it's nothing that you couldn't get used to. I would say, just from my initial impressions, this is probably an intermediate level drift car. It's not super difficult, but it's not super easy either. I would say it's probably an intermediate level drift car, just because of the way that you do have to wait for the boost to come on. It's not like, you know, drifting something like a V8, where like a supercharged or naturally aspirated V8, where you got power all the time, because you do have to time it, you do have to wait for it, which is why I put this a little bit higher up in difficulty than a beginner drift car. But it's definitely not something that is going to be extremely difficult. It doesn't have you know, like huge mass or huge proportions that you have to worry about all the time. It's a decent sized car. It's not too small, not too big either, and it feels balanced. It feels nice and balanced. There's no weird pull, which is kind of nice, because I've done several all-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive swap drift cars that have been okay. Oh, that corner is difficult. That corner is very difficult to get that transition right. Especially if you're going for big angle like I was, it can be hard to get that transition right sometimes. I'm not even gonna try to get the rest of this corner. I'm just gonna keep going and then pick it up here at the end and then try and go for it again on the second lap. But I want to say that it's the problem that I've had with a lot of all-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive swap drift cars is that they have this weird front-end pull, and this car doesn't have that. It feels like a genuine rear-wheel drive swap. It doesn't have any weird front-end pull to it. There's no fiddling around with the front end. It's not hopping. It's not trying to grab for grip. It doesn't feel like it's still trying to be half all-wheel drive. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like it's still holding on to that all-wheel drive character, because honestly, it's not. It feels like a perfectly usable rear-wheel drive swap. There's no hint that it wants to pull you around or understeer from the front, which is very nice if you're ever thinking about doing any kind of all-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive swap for drifting. You don't want any of that weird pull or hop from the front end. I mean, depending on your driving style, you might want a little bit, but for my driving style, I don't like to have any of that pull or hop from the front end, so it's nice that this car is behaving like a true rear drive swap. And yeah, when that boost comes on at about 6,000 RPMs, get it to about 6,000 RPMs no matter the gear, and I mean, it'll go. It'll get the back end out, it'll spin the tires, and boom, boom, came on right at about 6,000. I'll just turn into a corner and demonstrate that to you guys right when the power oversteer comes. And boost came on right there at 6,000 RPMs. You guys might have been able to hear the turbo spooling up. And then right when it gets to 6,000 RPMs, boom, it releases its boost. And you're going. I mean, you're going sideways. And, I mean, you just better hold on at that point. Come on. I was right on the verge of boost. See, that's the thing. You can lose out on a lot of points if you're just hanging around right on the verge of boost, which is something you definitely don't want to do. You don't want to hang around right on the verge of boost because you're not going to get a lot of use out of this car sideways if you just hang out right on the verge of boost. But if you push it right past that, anything above 6,000 RPMs, those rear tires will be spinning. Anything above 6,000 RPMs, you'll be spinning, you'll be sideways. And you may have to get used to that. It's just like kind of like the Evo that I did. In fact, I think the Evo was even a little bit more laggy than this is. The boost is pretty manageable in this. The lag is pretty manageable in this. And it also matters like with your experience on drifting turbocharged cars. I mean, for my style, I drift a lot of turbocharged cars. I drift turbocharged cars all the time. If you're used to drifting naturally aspirated cars or supercharged cars, you're going to have a little bit of trouble getting used to it probably, but after a few laps worth of practice, maybe take 30 minutes, get really totally used to the car, you'll be fine, you'll be all good to go. So, if you guys enjoyed this drift build, don't forget to leave me a like, tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought of it, and if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Talk to you guys later.